Open an image folder and it looks like somebody lost a fight with alphabets. JPG, PNG, GIF, WebP, SVG, RAW, TIFF, ICO. They all store images. So why do we need this many? Because every image format is a different trade-off. Smaller file size or higher quality. Transparency or simplicity. Animation or efficiency. Infinite scaling or real photographs. And the easiest way to understand them is not to memorize definitions. It is to watch one format hit a wall, then see the next format fix that problem. Let's start with JPEG or JPEG for short. JPEG looked at the photographs and basically said, you probably don't need every tiny detail in here. It uses lossy compression, meaning some visual information is deliberately discarded to make the file smaller. At sensible quality settings, you often barely notice anything. Compress too aggressively though, and the trick falls apart. Edges get messy, smooth gradients start breaking, and those familiar blocky JPEG artifacts appear. But for photographs, that trade-off is incredibly useful. A photo can contain millions of pixels with tiny changes in skin, clouds, grass, shadows, and lighting. Keeping all of that perfectly can create a much larger file. JPEG says, keep enough that human eye is happy, throw away some of the rest. And that makes the image much easier to store, send, and load. Also, JPG versus JPEG. Same format, the shorter .jpg extension exists largely because older computer systems preferred 3-letter file extensions. But JPEG has a problem. Imagine removing the background from a logo. You want just the logo floating over your website. JPEG cannot store alpha transparency, so instead of a beautiful cutout, you may get a beautiful cutout wrapped inside an ugly rectangle. And that problem takes us directly to PNGs. PNG makes almost the opposite deal. JPEG says, throw away some information to save space. PNG says, let's just keep it. PNG uses a lossless compression that makes it excellent for screenshots, user interfaces, diagrams, text and graphics where sharp edges matter. But its killer feature is transparency. PNG can store an alpha channel. Normally, a pixel contains information for red, green, and blue. PNG can add another value describing how transparent that pixel should be. So one pixel can be completely visible, another completely invisible, and another somewhere in between. That is how logos get smooth transparent edges instead of looking like somebody cut them out with digital scissors. And here's a useful trap to remember. Changing logo.png to logo.jpg does not magically convert the image. You only rename the file. Actually, converting a format means decoding the original image and encoding it again using the rules of the new format. And if that destination is JPEG, your transparency has nowhere to go. But PNG's precision has a cost. Save a huge photograph as a PNG and the file can become unnecessarily massive compared to JPEG. So now we have two tools. JPEG gives us compact photographs, PNGs give us sharp, lossless graphics and transparency. But both are still frozen. What if the image needs to move? That's why we have GIFs. So GIF enters the room. A GIF is basically multiple images played one after another. So frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, loop back to the beginning. And suddenly your image is dancing, blinking, and exploding, or replaying the same reaction meme for the 4,000th time. GIF survived because it made short animations incredibly easy to share. Technically though, it is ancient. A GIF frame is limited to palette of 256 colors. That works surprisingly well for simple graphics, pixel art, and memes. Try squeezing a realistic video into a GIF and things get ugly fast. Color grading, tithering, huge files, faces looking like they were rendered by a calculator from 1994. And here's the funny part. So now we are juggling 3 formats: JPEG for photos, PNG for lossless graphics and transparency, GIF for animation, and Google looked at this collection of formats and essentially asked, why do we need 3? That gives us another format, which is WebP. WebP tries to steal everybody's job. So it's like jack of all trades, master of none. Need lossy compression like JPEG? Yes. Lossless compression like PNG? Yes. Transparency? Yes. Animation? Yes. For websites, that's extremely useful. One format can cover jobs that previously required several different formats. So why didn't JPEG, PNG, and GIF immediately disappear? Well, the answer is compatibility. JPEG and PNG have been around forever. Almost everything understands them. And that mysterious piece of office software nobody has updated since dinosaur had an IT department. Newer formats need entire software ecosystem to catch up. But WebP solves a huge number of raster image problems, except for one problem it cannot escape, which is pixels. Take any normal raster image and zoom in far enough, eventually you'll meet the squares. If your logo is 500 pixels wide, you stretch it across a billboard, the computer has to enlarge those pixels. and eventually the image becomes too blurry. So what if we just stop storing pixels? That's SVG. And SVG is essentially a set of instructions. Draw this circle here, put this line here, fill this shape with this color, place this text at this position. Those instructions are stored as text. You can literally open many SVG files inside a code editor and read them. Now make the image bigger. The computer doesn't stretch existing pixels. It simply calculates that shape again at the new size. Tiny website icon, sharp. Huge monitors, sharp. Billboard, still sharp. That's why SVG is fantastic for logos, icons, charts, diagrams, and interface graphics. And because SVG is code, developers can even manipulate and animate parts of it using CSS or JavaScript. But now try describing a photograph of a forest using circles and curves and mathematical paths. Well, good luck with that. You could theoretically create something insanely complicated, but you would have completely defeated the purpose. So SVG solves scaling. Photographers have a completely different problem. By the time your camera gives you a JPEG, the camera has already made decisions for you. Colors, sharpening, white balance, contrast, compression. What if you don't want those decisions made yet? You shoot RAW. RAW is not one single file extension. It's a category of camera formats that preserve much more of the sensor's captured data before the image becomes a normal finished photograph. Think of JPEG as a finished meal. RAW is the box of ingredients. The finished meal is easier to use. The ingredients give you much more control. That extra information lets photographers adjust exposure, white balance, highlights, and shadows far more aggressively while editing. Canon has formats such as CR3, Nikon has NEF, DNG is another RAW format. Different files, similar idea. But RAW files are larger. They usually need processing, and sending somebody an unedited RAW file is like handling them flour when they ask for a sandwich. Eventually though, you finish editing and maybe file size isn't your priority anymore. Maybe you are printing something professionally, scanning important documents, creating an archive, or preserving a master copy with as much quality as possible. That's where TIFF or TIFF comes in. TIFF is basically the opposite of make this tiny so my website loads faster. It is used in workflows where preserving image information matters more than saving storage. TIFF can preserve very high large quality, supports different compression options, can support transparency, and can even contain multiple images or pages inside one file. That's why you'll encounter it in scanning, publishing, archives, and other professional workflows. You probably don't want your homepage filled with giant TIFF files, but when you are preserving an important master, suddenly giant doesn't sound so bad. And finally, we reach a format with one very specific job: ICO. Windows icons need to look good in several places. A tiny icon in one interface, a large one somewhere else, maybe an even larger version on another display. Instead of requiring completely separate files, an ICO file can contain multiple versions of the same icon at different resolutions. Windows can simply pick whichever version makes sense for the current size, and this tiny specialized format reveals the point of every format we have covered. There is no best image format. There is only the best trade-off for the job. Photo, where size matters, JPEG, transparent graphics or screenshot, PNG, simple old school animations, GIF, although newer alternatives are often more efficient, modern web image, WebP, logos that need to remain sharp at basically any size, SVG, maximum camera editing, flexibility, RAW, high quality master scan or archive, TIFF, Windows icons, ICO. These extensions aren't 8 random ways of storing the exact same thing. They are 8 different answers to one question. What are you willing to trade to make the image useful? So I hope you like this video. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, peace out.